We're bringing home the bacon. All right, Sebring, we've done this a few times now, but the car has changed pretty significantly since the last time, so our times aren't quite as fast. It's just not as fast anymore. We got ourselves a 204 789, which I'm pretty proud of. I think the fast guys are going to be in the 203s, but I'll take, if I can get 204s in any of the races, I'll be very happy. If I can stay in the low 205s, I'll still be thrilled. But yeah, let's go through it. We'll show you the fast lap. We'll talk about how we did it. Then we'll come back here for a couple final thoughts. If you like the video, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. If you think I earned it, hit the subscribe, and let's go.
You've just done a 205.29. You're now 0.31 off your best. Sector 2 time is okay. That lap time was 204.79. Sector 3 time is quick.
All right, Porsche Cup fixed. Sebring. Haven't touched the brake bias or anything like that. Got ourselves a 204 790. Let's go through how we did it. All right, flat out through the start finish straight here. Our first braking point is going to be right where this this white paint or white and yellow painted line meets the concrete barrier. We're gonna go there. It's not like a super heavy jam on the brakes. We're just gonna kind of hit it maybe 50%, 40 probably, more like it. But we're gonna start downshifting, and we want to get tight into this corner here. We still want to arc it, but we want to get as close to this barrier as we can. We're just easing off the brakes as we go, trail braking through, getting down to third, and then we're going to start putting some throttle in a little bit before this cone here. And it kind of depends on where you're at with grip and everything when you can start putting that throttle in. I think maybe I goofed up a bunch of different ways on this one. I think this one I maybe could have gotten on the throttle a little bit better, but we did all right. And then we get full throttle the rest of the way once we get the car turned, and we're just going to kind of track out to the rest of the track. We had a little bit extra track there. That's what makes me think I could have used a bit more throttle sooner, but you know, it is what it is. We did all right this lap, but we're going full throttle again here. Our next braking point is going to be these 3 cones as we come up. This one, I think, is a little bit of a heavier braking zone as we go through. 50-60% there. And we're going to get down to second is what we're aiming for. to come through this corner here, and then we're easing off as we come in. Trail brake. Then as we come around, we're going to start putting some throttle in. And this bit's a little tricky coming up here, but we're going to gas it up as we get the car settled. And then we hit the red line, so we need to shift up. I'm going to shift down again pretty soon here. So we're coming around, get the car over to the right hand side, and now we're going to start to brake a bit. Just real light on the brakes here. We're just trying to get the car turned, and I downshift a second to help with that. Probably can do this in third, but it just doesn't work for me. It might be quicker, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me, like I said. We're just holding that little bit of brake pressure. I sometimes coast through here a little bit instead of holding the brakes like that, but I think the brakes were usually quicker times. But we're getting back on the throttle after we get the car rotated around, and then as we come around, and we get the car straightened out, we can get full throttle again, and then this is all just full throttle through here. And then as we come up here, first lap or two, I like to use this where the pavement changes colors as my braking point, and then we can move it as we get the tires warmed up closer and closer to those 4 cones. We just start getting on the brakes, and then we are pretty heavy on the brakes here, and then we start easing up slowly, downshifting. We're eventually going to get down to first in this corner, but we're just slowing down, braking in a straight line. And then we can start to turn in just a smidge, and then we start easing off the brakes, do our trail braking, hold that little bit of brake pressure as we're turning the car around. Just hold it, and then we can start putting a little bit of throttle in. And we straighten the car out and the rest of the throttle. And then it is pretty much full throttle through here. Try not to bounce on the curbs. And we wait till the next set of cones, and we're gonna brake. I think a smidge before the 4 is probably where I like to do it. We can probably go a little bit deeper, but it's just helps me get the car angled a little bit better sooner, I think, if I brake there. Yeah, pretty decent on the brakes, about 60% or so in the initial stab there, and then we're just gonna kind of ease off as we come in. Easing off, easing off. And just get that little bit of percentage in as we turn the car. Clip the curb just a little bit there. We're putting some throttle in. Got a lot of wheel in there, and then we can straighten the car out. And then full throttle. And once you get this down, it's pretty easy to take full throttle, but it can still trick you. I think we hit the curb a little bit here. I'm kind of trying to avoid that, but it's no big deal. But yeah, we're full throttle through here, and then as we approach here, we're gonna kind of want to come out a little wide, but we're gonna start braking here-ish. We had a really good run through tower on this lap, if I remember correctly. So we're gonna start slowing down, and I crossed my inputs up, which I try not to do, but end up doing. So we're just kind of, as we pass that curb, we're starting to brake, just very light touch on the brakes, and then we're going to ease into the bigger braking zone, or bigger braking pressure. Not huge on the braking pressure, but just a little bit more. And we're going to downshift and just start easing back off of it. Turning in. Hold that trail brake, and we can start putting the gas in when we get about there. And then we're full throttle, and just come out, use this little bit of curb. We don't want to come out here like I did some laps, but right onto the curb with the left tires. And then just full throttle, and then for this corner, kind of want to be on the right hand side up here to open up the following part. But it's just full throttle through here. We come around, and then we're going to start braking a little bit before we get to these 3 cones here. A brake, And when you get slowed down and into third gear, as we come around, we're gonna start easing off on the brakes. And this bit is tricky for me. It keeps on. It's you don't feel a huge amount of control through here. I don't feel a huge amount of control here. Maybe you do, but so we're just gonna ease off the brakes and start easing onto the throttle, just not all the way, and then just slowly bring the rest of the throttle in. So that's just gentle, like through the midpoint there. I say those words hoping they mean something. All right, so now we're gonna come over here. And we're going to get off to the left. I'm already lifting a little bit, but we're just going to put a little bit of brake pressure in. We're going to get down to second here in a second. We're just easing off the brakes. We just hold that little bit of brake pressure, ease in, and again, just kind of being gentle with my throttle. I'm thinking gentle with my throttle application. Let's see if I actually am. We're just partially throttled up as we come around, trying to get more momentum going into this big long straightaway. If we build speed up earlier, we'll have more of this under the curve of the acceleration. But anyway, we're full throttle here, and we just want to make sure we don't lose control and like spin out when we hit this curbing. It's easy to do. It's easy to overpower that corner. And then you have a bad day. But anyway, we're full throttle and just accelerate. And I goofed up sunset on this lap. I lost like 0.17 of a second through here. But anyway, what we want to do is hit the brakes around the 3 cone there. And I'll tell you where I made my mistake, I think. We're just going to hold a little bit of brake pressure through here. We're trying to slow down enough that we can pull on the back half of this really tight to the barriers on the inside. And I think I just didn't slow down enough in the early part of the corner. We're just holding that little bit of brake pressure. Third. And I'm just not getting as much turn in as I want in the later parts here. So we're just kind of washing out, and I'm putting so much wheel in, and it's just not happening. I think if I slowed down a bit more in the early part of the corner, we wouldn't have had this problem. But we kind of blew it, so we're throttling up. Ideally, we would have had a little bit more brake pressure going in, and would have been able to turn in more in the early parts of the corner. So we would have pulled that a little bit tighter. But we, like I said, we went wide there and we goofed up, but we're making the best of it. And we're back full throttle, and it's just full throttle through here once we get going around. And there we go. We got ourselves a 204.790. All right. So yeah, like I said, pretty happy with the time. I get mixed results when we do Sebring. I sometimes have pretty good races here. Sometimes I just mess it up. I'm not consistent enough with Turn 1, Sunset, and Le Mans. Those are the ones I feel are my weakest, but they're probably not. That's always the way it goes. I feel like I'm bad at this one, and it's like a completely different one that I'm actually bad at. But yeah, if you want to watch along live when we do these things, head on over to twitch.tv/thepiltdownman. And like I said earlier, I'm trying to get the call to action moved up front. So maybe, I don't know, YouTube stuff. Thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe. All that fun stuff. Comment. We'll see you next time. Bye.